Okay. Afternoon. Welcome back. If you recall, I asked you all to shout out Namaste this morning to my office, which was back in the UK. I've had a message. They were watching it streaming. They had it on a big screen in the office, and the whole company were there. They were really, really impressed just to get a hello from you all. So Namaste back from the UK. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, hello again. My name is Pauls. I'm from Microtik Support, and today I'm going to give this presentation about the basic things what you would need to know if you want to configure your router starting from zero. If you use default configuration, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything will be done for you in this default configuration. So before we start, there's a thing that you should know, that all the router's features is same on every hardware. So this means that you can make really advanced setups, use firewalls, queues, and so on, without with even the smallest router board device. So to start configure your router, you need first access it, and you can do this in 4 different ways. You can use command line interface, which basically is a terminal where all the commands are done using your keyboard. You can also use the Webfig version, which is the router's configuration using your browser. So you can configure your router from any device that supports HTTPS protocol. There's a TICAP, which is a mobile application, and the main application for desktop devices is called Winbox. So when you open the Winbox or Webfig, this is the first view. This is called Quickset, and Quickset gives you a very easy way how you can configure your router just in a few clicks. Everything, the most basic things will be provided in just one window. So if you are not very familiar with the router's configuration, you can just use Quickset. So this would be the first step to create some configurations. And about the security. First of all, and very important, is to change default user credentials, because all routers devices comes with default username admin and without password. So leaving those without changes would be a big mistake, because somebody can just try to log in your routers, and since somebody has got into your router, then he can change every configuration. And so always change the username and also add the password. The same goes for wireless security. Leaving the access point without password would not be the best idea, because anybody can connect to this network and do some potential destructive things to your customers or even your router. So you can protect your wireless just with a few clicks by specifying the authentication types and setting the password. That's it. When it's done, your wireless is safe. Also, good practice is to disable unused interfaces. So, if you have a router in some public place and you know that you won't use this, for example, Ethernet 1 port, better disable it. So, nobody can just come with his own laptop, connect to your router and try to log in or sniff some traffic and so on. Similar is for the packages. For example, if you have the IPv6 package, this means that the router is operating also on IPv6 level, and this also means that you have to know IPv6 firewall rules. If you don't, then again, somebody can access your network using this IPv6 network. The router provides default services, which you can, by default, these are enabled. But again, if you know that you won't use, for example, FTP or SSH, why would you need to leave them open? By disabling them, you can just be sure that nobody will be able to do anything using those protocols. So this is also extra security for your router and your customers. The router provides not only access using the layer 3 level, but you can also use the layer 2. This means that you can connect to your router using only the MAC address. So even if you have no IP addresses, somebody can access your router if you haven't been disabled those interfaces. So in case where you have your local area network and your public interface, leaving the local area network accessible from layer 2 level would be considered safe, but for the public interface you should disable this possibility. And the router also has that feature which is called neighbor discovery. What does it mean? It means that routers sends neighbor discovery packets through all available interfaces. This is very useful for you if you want to debug some what's going on your network. But if this information is sent over a public interface, this is not a good idea, because this neighbor discovery packets includes information about your MAC address, about your software ID, about the board identity, board model, and so on. So if you are configuring your router from zero, disable public interfaces. There are some models who support serial port. Again, this gives you extra possibility to debug things, to connect to your router. But if the router is located in the public places, it would be better to disable this port. And for LCD, it shows useful information about your router, about the traffic. So if you consider this unsafe, again, you can disable the LCD just with a simple click. And most of you probably have been in a situation where you have lost your router password, or or just mistakenly made some configuration changes when the router is not accessible anymore. And then the last option is the reset button. But if, again, the router is located in some public place, anybody can come and just by pressing the reset button can erase all the information you have set in your router boot. That's why we made this feature, which is called protected router boot. What it does, it sets the time how long you need to hold this reset button when the action will be taken. By default, it is 5 seconds to reset the router, but in this example, you can set that you need to hold this button for 30 seconds. So this is also an extra security you can make. Firewall is responsible for layer 2 and layer 3 protection. And firewall should be used in such a way where you block or allow some specific IP address and block or allow all the other. For example, if you have like a class and you want to block all the student access to some resource and allow teacher to get to this resource, you would not write some tens of drop rules and then one rule that allows this, for example, teacher to get to these resources. No, you first add one IP address, which in this example would be the teacher IP address, which is accepted, and then you block everything else, including this same IP address, to block access to this content. So, in example where you want to secure the router board itself, you would need to use firewall input chain. The input chain is responsible only for the traffic that goes directly to the router's devices. This means that destination address of the packet is some IP address from the router. So basically you can secure your router with only 2 firewall rules. One would be that drops all the traffic from public interface. In this example, it's either 1. And the second rule would be firewall rule that accepts all packets from connection, state, established, and related. And this means that no new or no established connection can be made from the Ethernet 1 because we have this one rule that blocks everything. And as optional firewall rule, you can use the ping accept rule, but this depends from you. You can allow or you can block this. Firewall forward chain is responsible for the traffic that travels through the router. This means with firewall forward rule, you can protect your customers. This means that the packet destination address is none of the router's IP addresses. And again, you can add one rule that would drop all the traffic that travels from the public interface. It's either 1. You always want to also block invalid connections, and you have to add a firewall rule that has connection state established and related. So now your customers or clients or anybody from your local area network can send data from the LAN through the either one and come back, and these packets will not be blocked because the routers will consider them as established or related connection. Network address translation. This is another way how you can protect or hide your local area network. This means that using this firewall rule, all the packets that goes out to the either one interface, in our case it's the public interface, the source address will be changed from original address that came from your local area network to the address that is set on your Ethernet 1 interface. So even if multiple laptops are used on your local area network, nobody outside the Ether 1 on the public side will be able to see what IP address started this connection or sent this packet. This is the view of MikroTik firewall. Basically, it operates in 5 basic chains. The pre-routing and input chain is responsible for accessing the router. The pre-routing, forward and post-routing is responsible for the traffic that goes through your router. And there's also output and post-routing chain, which is responsible for checking the IP packets which are sent from the router itself. And each block represents a router's facility that will inspect your IP packet and perform some action if criteria is matched. In cases if you want to allow some port forwarding, for example, if you have some server working on your local area network, but you have only one public IP address, how would you connect to your server? Well, you can use the destination NOT rule, which will when the packet comes to your public interface, your IP address from the router, it will replace the original destination IP address to the IP address specified by the firewall destination NOT rule. So this is the way how you can send the packets directly to the local area network. And to work, you also have to add a second rule, which is responsible for the packets that come from your server. By default, if there's no such source NOT rule, you would receive the packet from the local area network, and your PC or any requested device would drop, because it's not the address you requested. That's why we need the source NOT rule, which will change the source address of the IP server on your local area network to the address that is set on Ethernet 1 interface. And for more advanced destination NOT, you can check the hairpin NOT example, which is needed if you want to access public IP address, which is actually destinated from your router, but being requested from the local area network. So for advanced setups, check this wiki example. It gives a brief explanation. In cases if you want to block some web resources, for example, resources that uses HTTPS protocol, you would need to use the IP address, because the SSL connection can't really be matched by the firewall unless you use the IP address. And to do so, you can use firewall address list. You can add your address, which in this example is facebook.com, and the routers will automatically resolve this DNS name to IP addresses. In cases if the resource have multiple IP addresses, it will list all available IP addresses, and later you can block this content with simple firewall drop rule. Also, you can make sure that there won't be possible brute force attacks. And this can be done by multiple firewall rules that will, in case if somebody tries to access your router using SSH and the connection is unsuccessful, this means that the credentials is incorrect. The routers will add this attacker IP address to the list. If the same IP address tries the second attempt and it's also unsuccessful, the IP address will be added to the second stage, and when the third IP connection is tried, the IP address will be blocked for 7 days. So you can just know that nobody will be able to try more than 3 attempts to hack your router. And routers can also handle and manage the bandwidth. For example, there was a screen where all the firewall facilities were listed, and this gives you extra possibilities to make advanced setups, but it also takes CPU resources to check if each packet belongs to hotspot, if it belongs to some raw firewall rules or connection tracking and so on. This takes CPU resources, and this brings down the actual throughput. So how can you avoid this? You can make one additional firewall rule which is responsible for all the connections that are established and related will be sent to fast track. So the routers will just skip all those checkings, and this is a very good way how you can improve the throughput of your device. Also for bandwidth control are responsible the queues. Queues can limit the traffic. You can set maybe some specific IP address. You can set some interface or subnet, and just by specifying the upload max limit and download max limit, nobody from this targeted interface, IP address or subnet will not be able to exceed the specified speed limits. And for little more advanced queues, you can use the PC queue, which is per connection queues. This means that by specifying this option, the available speed will be split equally on all connected devices. So everybody will get the same speed. So, if you have stuck in some problem, you don't understand why, for example, why you can't access your local area network for public side, but you have this firewall rule, you can add option log yes, and since then all the packets which will be cached by the firewall will be added to the logs. So this gives you extra debugging options to see what's actually happening. You can also debug some topics. For example, if you're using DHCP and you don't understand why some specific hardware didn't receive DHCP lease, then by enabling topic DHCP, you would see all the content of the DHCP file, of the DHCP packet, and this gives you easy way how you can see where's the problem. And also, if necessary, you can send all those logs to some remote server. This is the view of the logs. So in this example, you can see that somebody from this IP address have tried to connect to your SSH. And there's also other debugging tools, for example, Torch, which is made for analyzing network traffic. You can specify the interface, and the routers will list all used ports, all used IP addresses, traffic that goes by, and so on. So you can inspect this by interfaces, and you can also catch all the packets and actually see the contents of them. So you can sniff packets that goes through the router, send them to some compatible software that can read this file, for example Wireshark, and you will be able to see all the content that's inside those packets. Also, you can use Profiler, which is responsible for the CPU usage. In case when the CPU is overloaded, you can just run this tool, and it will tell you what actually causes this overload. And the same way, you can check the history of CPU usage just by viewing the resource graphs. And there's also very powerful network monitoring tool that's available completely free. It's called the Dude, and now it's since the Dude version 6, it's implemented in the routers package. So you can just browse the Dude manual and use it to monitor all your network and see if there's any problems happening, if there are some services down, and you can make a live view of all your network. And it's also very important to keep the features and fixes up to date. So because on every new routers version, we include some fixes and also features. And basically there are three main channels. There's a release candidate, which is responsible for most newly implemented routers features and fixes. There are the current version, which is tested for a long period of time. And also there is a bug fix version, which will not have so much features, but it's most trustworthy, and this is considered the most safe routers version. And routers upgrade can be done with just one click. You go to packages, check for updates, specify the channel, and by pressing download and install, the routers will automatically download the file, reboot the router and install the latest routers package. In cases if you have stuck and there's some, for example, configuration problems, you don't know what's happening into your router, you can perform some things, like you can try the backup BIOS. Most of the router board devices have 2 BIOS chips. In case if there's some problem happened in the main BIOS, you can use the second one to start the router. In such cases where you have completely lost your password or the configuration is made router board inaccessible, you can use the NetInstall tool, which basically reinstalls the router's device back to factory settings. You can use the serial port. This will work only on devices who has such port. And you can use it in cases where the hardware is not accessible using the layer 2 and layer 3 level. And for example, in case if you complain about the CPU overload, maybe this means that this device just isn't able to handle so much traffic or configuration, and you simply need to upgrade your hardware. And in cases if the previous examples do not work, you can contact consultants. They are listed on the macri.com/consultants webpage. You can buy some learning resource, for example, books. You can use our forum. There are a lot of very helpful users. And also you can go to our wiki page where each topic is explained in the details. So, and what to do if your hardware has stopped and it's not the software related? You can check the power adapter, check if the PoE is running as supposed. There are now some voltage drops and so on. You can check the cables, check different interfaces and power sources. And if nothing works from the previous, you should contact the support. Always make support files and send those to us with the description. In cases when the hardware runs out of memory, first you should upgrade device. If the problem continues, you should generate the support file right after reboot, and generate the second support file when the RAM is also full, almost full. Then we in the support will inspect those 2 files and see maybe there's some configuration problem and so on. And always when you write to support, describe in details what has happened, how we can repeat this problem, send all files, for example some screenshots, video and so on, and because all those things will let us to debug the problem much faster. Okay, thank you for listening. If you have some questions, feature requests, suggestions, please come to our table.
Ja, prezentacija. Exactly.